This is Allison reporting from Khaosan Rd for Thai Law Forum. Today we're here to interview about a very touchy issue. What do Western women think about the hordes of Western men who travel to Thailand every year looking for romance with Thai women?
Okay, so a couple of things here just to begin with. Firstly, as far as copyright goes, this is produced under the fair use clause, with education and entertainment being the two clauses there that make this free use. So firstly, this woman here, she's interviewing women on Khaosan Rd. So I've actually stayed on Khaosan Rd for a week or so. It's a tourist place, tourist precinct, I guess you'd say, in Bangkok. But as far as the bar scene goes, which is what they're talking about here, it's pretty tame compared to places like Pattaya or Patong Beach in Phuket. There might, from memory, and I've got to say I stayed there probably 6 years ago now, there was one or two bars that had bar girls outside it when I was there. So you don't see a lot of the bar girl activity in Khaosan Rd, but I think the women that are getting interviewed here have been to other parts of Thailand. So let's get into this. I just got to make the comment that they're interviewing the women about the men. So again, men's opinion on what they're actually doing, their own activity. I mean, that's the men that are taking part, and the women are going to discuss what the men are doing, rather than actually just talk to the men. Interesting way of looking at the world, but let's keep going.
I think it's kind of a bit of a weird idea, really. I think it's a bit strange when you go into all the bars and you see these really old and Western men, and they're all these beautiful Thai women kind of like fawning all over them, and like, to me it just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem right, really.
Yeah, yeah. So Thai women fawning all over Western men in bars. The women are working. This is the thing that gets lost, not only on the women but on the men, getting fawned over. These women this is their job. They're doing their job, and they're happy in their work, and the men are happy with the customer service, and the women, the better they are at their job, the more money they make for the bar owner. Now this is, like, their job is to separate the money from the tourist as quickly and as painlessly as possible, and they're excellent at their job. These to a T, all these bar girls know exactly how to get money out of Western men, and they're excellent at it.
But I think it's something that seems to have gone on for a long time, and I've heard of men coming here, they come here just for that particular reason, just to go to bars and pick up women. And then you hear about like internet brides as well, like some men buying, you know, women off the internet and things like that, and it just, to me, it just seems like a really strange idea.
Yes, it has been going on for a long time, and yep, there are men who do just travel to Thailand so that they can, I wouldn't say pick up girls in bars, because that's not really what they're doing. They the girls are prostitutes, and there's no other way to say that. The difference between the prostitutes in Thailand and the prostitutes in the West is that the girl you'll meet her in the bar. Prostitution is illegal in Thailand, so you can't proposition the woman in the bar, okay? And the woman will get offended if you do. So she'll sit there and entertain you, and they play various games, and they put money on it. It's not really, gambling's illegal in Thailand, so they're not really gambling, they're just making a wager. It's some kind of subtle difference, but anyway, the way generally it's played is if you win, you get a beer. If they win, you buy them a lady drink, and the lady drinks are expensive. That's how they make their money for the bar. At the end of the evening, you can invite the girl back to your hotel room. Once you're off the premises, you can discuss how much it's going to cost, and if you want, she will stay with you for the duration of your holiday, or you can go and get another girl the next night. However, the girls don't like you using the same bar, so there's lots of little bars, and you go to each different bar, get a different girl. Just the way they operate. So the girls that you're meeting in bars have body counts in at least triple figures. Mainly it'll be quadruple figures, so over 1,000 men, okay, just as a rule of thumb. That'll be a typical bar girl.
So in general, is that there's not just a sex cat culture in Thailand, there's also this big culture of Western men or foreign men moving to Thailand to date, to get wives, etc. And as a Western woman, what's your opinion on this? Is it normal? Is it not your problem? What's it like being a Western woman in Thailand?
Well, for me it was that I started noticing actually the differences between the Asian women and the Western women, and I started to compare both of them, and why would that be that the Western men are going to Thailand to well, what I decided is that it's the women in Western world, they are so pushing for their rights and the manly woman that they forget to be women anymore. And it's like some of the Western men, when arriving to Asia, they find that there is still the calmness in women, something more feminine than back home.
So do you think women back home would take a lesson from Thai women, or do you think they should be? Can we resolve this? Is it need to be resolved? That's kind of my question.
I do think that it's possible to resolve this, but it's not on a law or reason level, but it's more on the spiritual heart level, something more like that. Of course, it's very nice that you are a businesswoman and the business shark, but maybe you should think about also the feminine part of yourself in how you act, how do you think about family values or something more like that.
Yeah, so that's an interesting take from that European lady there. She's right about the men finding the Thai ladies, the Thai women, more feminine than Western women. That's there's two reasons that Thai women are very attractive. One is that they are feminine, very feminine, and the other is their skin. Their skin is so silky smooth. And every man knows that that's what we like about women, is their silky smooth hairless skin, you know. But she's saying that Western women need to act more feminine. Well, this is the problem, okay, that it is an act for Western women. They're completely broken. for the Thai women, it's not an act, it's who they are. It's part of their culture. They have a gendered language here, so masculine and feminine genders in the language. And so it's a very, like, it's difficult for me to describe what the Thai ladies are like, because you have to experience the proper Thai women to understand what I'm even talking about when I'm with them. What I can say is that I've never been happier in my life at 57 now. Now I've understood what happiness really is. Anyway, that's getting a bit personal. And she's saying, can Western women learn something from the Thai women? I don't think so. I don't. Not with the attitude that I see in Western women. They think they've got the right answer, and they come over here and they just heap shit on on the men and on the women here, and they do it out of ignorance. Now, what's the other thing she's saying there? It's about spiritual stuff, not about the law. Well, it is actually about the law in the West. It's about the divorce laws. It's about the laws that demand quotas on boardroom tables. It is about the law, and the law is not going to change. And the men just need to accept that. And Thailand's a good place to go for a holiday, believe me.
I think it's not very fair on the woman, for starters, that first of all it's degrading for them, but on top of that, financially they're not paying enough. Whenever you convert it back into our money, they're not paying them enough money, for what them women have to do for them to support themselves and potentially a family, because some of them are single mothers.
Some of them are single mothers. This woman has absolutely no idea what she's talking about. Okay, so the bar girls make good money. Okay, make no mistake about that. You meet the girl in the bar. She entertains you. You get to know her. She gets to know you. Like, you're asking questions about each other and all that kind of stuff. And she will. Then you'll invite her back to your hotel room, and then you'll start talking money. She'll want 3,000 baht, which is about $100 American, for the night, and you can get that down to 1,500 baht without. They just say, no, I'll pay you 1,500, and she'll normally say yes, and that's $50 for the night. And now, during the course of the evening, if you've been asking her about her family, she will no doubt pull out a photo of a shack and say, this is the family home. I'm here, I've got 6 brothers and sisters, my parents and my grandparents on both sides to feed. I'm the only breadwinner. Poor me, poor me, poor me. This is the story that they'll spin. And it's a scam. What they want is for you to be their boyfriend, in quote marks, and send them money back to them when you've gone back home to your country. So that's part of the scam. Now, another part of the scam is they'll want you to buy them jewellery, and this is if you are with them for longer than the night. So because they'll hang around in the morning, they won't want to go. They'll say, oh, you want to go for breakfast? And they'll start taking you around the tourist spots, and sometimes they'll have a deal with the restaurant owner that they'll bring their men there for breakfast and they get a free breakfast, etc. It's like I say, their job is to separate money from men, right? And they're good at it. So they'll They'll have this whole routine that they'll take you through, and then they'll see you off at the airport, and they'll be in tears, and you'll be in tears, and it'll be a big fucking drama. And they want you to send them money so they don't have to work in the bar when you come back. They'll be your girlfriend again, you see. And in the meantime, they're in the bar working away as happy as Larry. This is the other side to the coin, is the girls who are attracted to that work look at it as a party life with benefits, okay? And the other thing is, a sociopath makes a perfect prostitute, a female sociopath. And there are plenty of female sociopaths working in the bars in Thailand. Make no mistake about it. They are there solely for the sex and the money. And this is, like, if you're Westerner, it feels good to say, oh, the women are just poor victims of circumstance and they don't have any other choice but to make money in this manner. If you're in Thailand and you're actually in the villages where the girls come from, they've got a good life in the village. Make no mistake about it. They've got everything you've got in the West in their villages. They're just there to make money. That's what, and they do, and that's, you know, they don't have to send it back home to the parents. The parents are fine, right? It's all a scam. So there may be one or two cases where the woman's family has fallen on hard circumstances and she's there because she has no other way to make money. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It's not the reason the women are working in these bars, okay? Most of it is a scam.
And things like that there, and personally I don't think it's a good career choice for them women. I think it's very unfair on them, and I think it's not a good thing at all. I think Western men should be more supportive of not taking part in it, to be honest.
Putting their money into different places. A lot of these women don't have the choice, I think.
Yeah, a lot of them don't have the choice. They can't afford
not to
do any other form of work. They can't afford it. And I mean, on top of that, the Western men just take advantage of it. They just take advantage of the fact that these women are poor and don't have a lot of money and will take pretty much nothing for what they have to do. And I think it's very unfair.
Yeah.
Whenever you convert it into our currency, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, so shaming tactics there for men. But what happens with these young idealistic women from Ireland or any other part of Europe and part of the Western world really? They get off the plane in Thailand and they've got some strange idea that they're going to experience the Eastern culture and they're going to be enlightened, and they'll do yoga and they'll do the massages and they'll have their foot clean or whatever it is, and they'll shop and it'll all just be this wonderful magical time in the East for them. And what happens is the Thai men are not interested in Western women at all. They couldn't give them the time of day. So the Thai men basically ignore them. And then the Western men, within a day or two of arriving, want nothing to do with Western women. Literally, within a week, Western women are just shell-shocked. They don't know what's hit them. There's suddenly no attention being paid to them whatsoever by anyone. And they're just totally out of their element here in Thailand. There's literally nothing that these Western women do or say has any effect whatsoever on the men in Thailand. And I mean, Thai men or Western men. They want nothing to do with these Western women within a few days of landing at the airport. And so these women are, I would say, a little bit shell-shocked here. And they're saying, you know, the men need to not abuse the poor Thai women. It's only that the men have got lots of money suddenly, and that the Thai women want it, that all this can happen, and the men need to step up and be better, stop taking advantage of these poor women, when it's actually the other way around. It's the women. Just the Western men are so pleasantly surprised by what these bar girls how they are treated by the bar girls, I'll put it that way. And they've never had it in their culture and in their lives at all. They've never seen it. And it is actually only a glimpse of what the real Thai women are like. It's just a veneer over what real Thai women are actually like, you know. You get a glimpse of it in the bar girls. But like I say, their body counts are triple figures mainly, you know, or higher. You know, I've met girls that make $600 in a day, and that's because they've had sex with 6 different men in a day, you know, and they do it every day until they have their period. Period lasts 2 to 3 days for a Thai lady, and then they're back into it again, you know. And yeah, it's just the numbers rack up real fast. So yeah, these women, these two here, no idea what they're talking about whatsoever at all. It's just Western female feminist rhetoric, and it's bullshit.
What do you think of Western men coming to Thailand to find love?
In a way, it's kind of desperate. In a way, if they're happy, then they're happy. There's 2 ways. But then it's bad that the Thai women it's bad because the Thai women are all going for their money. That's my perspective, that all the Thai women are only going with them because they got their money
So you think
and the
it's
stability.
like badly on the Thai women?
Yeah.
Men,
Yeah, because they throw themselves on the Western men, and just because the Western men need love, but it's sad that they have to come here for it.
What do you think it says about men in our society that they have to come here to find love?
They're slightly desperate. Not bad.
Yeah, so good Aussie girl here, somewhere around Western Sydney by the looks of it, maybe Newcastle, and she's saying, you know, the men are desperate. What do you think about the men coming here to find love, coming to Thailand to find love? Oh, it's kind of desperate. That's being desperate in Australia is a derogatory term. So she's not praising the men, but what she's not saying is that the men are coming here to find love because they're not getting it from the women in Australia, and that's par for the course there in Australia. And then she's saying that the women only want the men for their money. Well, hello, you know. That's number one, exactly what Western women want men for a start. But you know, she's talking again about the bar girls, and yes, the bar girls are there to take the money off the men. That's what they do. The proper Thai women, they get upset if you talk about money. If you show them lots of money, they'll get frightened and upset. It's the man's job to look after the money for the household, and the proper Thai lady will come to the man to get money. Like she'll actually ask, you know, she says, I want to go and buy a new dress or whatever. Can I have, you know, 100 baht? Here you go, here's 100 baht. Go for your life. And you know, that's what's expected of the men in in Thailand is that you're responsible with money, and the women are quite happy to work for the money, like in a real job, but they don't want to handle the money. They don't want to be in charge of it. It's a man's job. So, this, I don't know how I got onto that topic, but this girl, she's saying they're only with the men for money. And the bar girls definitely are. That's what they're there for, okay, to take the money. But that's not a proper glimpse of the Thai culture. For a start, the Thais are Buddhist, and so material possessions are not important. Good Ocker girl there. No idea what's going on, but very opinionated.
Yeah.
Culture of Western Western men traveling over to Thailand for romance.
I think it's sad, and I think that they're really missing out on the relationship they could have with their wife if they really focused on that. And also I feel bad for the Thai women who are getting taken advantage of in this way, because they too could find a lot of happiness in having a relationship that goes beyond even sex. And it goes beyond how pretty you are, because once you get old, you don't look the same. But if you've spent a lot of years with your husband and really investing in one person your whole life, then you would have a greater overall reward, a long life friendship, and that can't be, you can't trade that for anything. It's worth a lot. So I feel bad in that way.
Totally delusional. She feels bad for the men taking advantage of the poor little women. So I've seen women here who, I'll give you a story. There's, I used to travel back and forth on the by air to Thailand about the time this film was getting made, basically. And I see a lot of these men either going there or coming back, just single Aussie men. On a typical plane load back then, you'd have at least 50 single men going. This is daily to Thailand, at least 50. And I sat next to this old guy, and he's telling me he's going over to Thailand, Pattaya, to see his girlfriend. And he was telling me about his girlfriend, and his girlfriend was a short-time girl in the dark side of Pattaya. So a long-time girl on the sunny side of Pattaya is an absolute shark, right? She's there to separate you from your money, and they're such smooth operators that the men have no idea what's going on, basically. The women, the short-time girls from the dark side of Pattaya, are the women who have gone through the light side, and they're a bit older, and they're not as attractive as they used to be, and they're short-time girls, which means they're in the bar, and you pay them a few $100 baht to fuck them in a room upstairs, and then they come back. Like, you get half an hour, short-time girl. And so, their body counts are probably up around the 10,000 mark. And here's this guy thinking this girl is his girlfriend, and he's saying that he bought her a house and he bought her a car, like an apartment, and a car, and he's been paying her money to keep her out of the bar, so she doesn't have to work in the bar. And so he's set this girl up, but in Pattaya, right, which is the red light district of Thailand, basically. So she's still working as a short-time girl. Now she's got an apartment and a car, you know, and someone's paying her money for nothing. You know, she's exactly where she wants to be, and what she really wants is 4 or 5 of these suckers all around the world. As long as they don't arrive on the same day, she's fine, right? She'll just juggle them around. And even if they do turn up, she says, "Oh, look, my mother is sick. I'm back in the village until she gets better." And then she'll turn up a couple of days later. "Oh yeah, everything's fine." And away she goes, you know. So it's not the men taking advantage of the poor little Thai women. Make no mistake about who's in charge with these Western men that come over to for these holidays. Okay.
So much for sadly more on the men or on the women involved, or both?
I'd say it probably reflects worse on the men, but I think in Thai society, because women are more kind of subservient, and I think they look to Western men to be like a symbol of like affluence or richness. So when they see a Western man, you know, they think of the money and the security and everything. So, but I think, you know, for Western men to take advantage of that just makes me feel like there's something quite not right there, you know. But you find it in a lot of cultures. Like I lived in Japan for a while as well, and sometimes you'd see these nice, beautiful, like Japanese young women, and then they'd be walking around with these really old, ugly Western guys, you know, because again, for them it's like a status symbol, I suppose, and they think that these Western men are going to give them, yeah, maybe they're going to give them more freedom as well, because I think as well, Thai women, you know, maybe at home they have restrictions from the men, or they have to be very subservient, and they think that Western men will give them some kind of more freedom, I guess.
So wrong again. The Thai women are not subservient in the home or anywhere else. Okay. As far as a relationship with a Thai woman goes, when she's decided that she wants the relationship, she will say, "I walk beside you," or "I am beside you." And what that means is she's not above or below, she's not in front or behind. She's going to walk at your side through the journey of life. And she's made that decision, and she will be there until you die. Right? It's a formal Thai thing that they have. It's kind of like an engagement in the Western world, but the Thai women are the ones that decide that this is where they want to be, and they tell you that, and that's decision made. Okay, and it's for life. They don't have plan B. Right? They don't have plan B. They're not standing at the altar thinking about who they're going to marry next. All right. So no, the Thai women are not subservient to men. And this woman's looked at these cultures. She's looked at the Japanese culture, which is totally different to the Thai culture, by the way. And she's looked at the Thai women, and she's just put her Western bias on it, and totally is you know, lost the plot, lost the point, is completely misread the entire situation. Okay.
Yeah.
Alison, reporting from Khaosan Rd in Bangkok for Thai Law Forum.